wasted money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll save memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deepest seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll save memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Good evening, a very warm welcome to those of you who are joining us live, and also a very warm welcome to any of you watching this on replay. It's John here from Tutor to You, sitting in for Vicky, who's having hopefully a very lovely time on her Easter break. But I'm joined tonight by Catherine on the left-hand side of the screen and Fiona in the
Hiya.
middle. Good evening to you both.
Hi.
Like I said, welcome to anybody who's joining us live. If you are, we've got 30 minutes of very fast-paced activities, revising, I should say, glacial systems and landscapes. Catherine and Fiona will be taking you through those activities. Please do join in by using the chat window for your answers as quickly as they pop up on the screen. At the end of this live stream, the PowerPoint that Catherine and Fiona are using will be available for you to download, so you can spend a bit more time looking through those questions if you so wish. I think we might be ready, guys. Shall we get cracking with this?
Absolutely.
Let's go for it. Here we go.
Okay, so our first little challenge for you this evening is some confusing pairs. So we have here some key phrases and definitions. So do they match up correctly, or are they the wrong way round? I'd love to see you popping yes in the chat if you think the key phrases and definitions match up correctly, and no if you think they're the wrong way round. So just going to give you a tiny bit of time to have a little read and think about this. So think about what is an input, what is an output? Are those the correct definitions? Oh, well done. Brilliant. Okay, let's see if we've got spectral and kaolin correct. Yes, they are. Wonderful. That's got us off to a really good start. Okay, on to the next one. So, systems approach, very important in this A level through all the different topics. And we've got here important parts of a system. We've got the flows and transfers, we've got stores and components, but are the key phrases and the definitions matching up correctly? So, let's have a little look. What do you think? Is this a yes or is this a no? Right. Thank you very much for your ideas. Let's see. Yeah, that's correct. They were the wrong way around. So, stores and components are the parts of the system, and the flows and the transfers are the links between the system. So, that's the same, whatever topic we're looking at, particularly in physical geography. But you can see there we've got some nice terminology for the glacials topic as well. So, let's try our third one. This is so important for you to know about. We've got there. Oh, we've had the answer revealed already. So we've got positive feedback, and it's gone again. We've got positive feedback. We've got negative feedback. So which one is moving it away from equilibrium, and which one is moving it away, but then back again? So we already saw the answer pop up for that. So John, if you reveal that one again. So yeah, this is really, really important to realize, again, whichever topic you're looking at. Positive feedback is when we've got a change in the system that's moving it away from equilibrium, and then it spirals further out of control. So positive feedback's not good. It's not a positive thing. Negative feedback, however, is when you've got the change in the system moving it away from equilibrium, but then it moves back again. And again, on the screen, we've got some fantastic examples relating to our glaciation topic. Okay, so our next one here. So when we're looking at this topic, we think about glacial landscapes and we think about periglacial landscapes. So have a little look at these definitions. Are these matching up correctly? What do you think? So we got the action of glaciers, and then we got related landforms near to glacial areas. What do you think? Are these matching up correctly? Let's see the answers. Right, yeah, well done. And Spectral Eclipse got that as well. So fantastic. So, yeah, so very important when you're reading questions in this topic, read them really carefully to see if we're talking about glacial landscapes or periglacial landscapes. Okay, so what have we got coming next? Right, okay, glacial landscapes, glacial landforms. Have a little look at those definitions. So which one's going to be talking about the individual glaciated features, and which is looking at the combinations of the glaciated features? Is this correct or is it not correct? Let's see what you think. Right, we've got Spectral Eclipse is doing a lot of work here. Well done. Well done. So let's see the answer. Yeah, got it right again, Andeep. Well done. Fantastic stuff. So when the question, again, read the questions really carefully. When the question is just talking about a landform, it's talking about an individual feature such as a corrie or a wreck, glacial trough. When it's talking about a glacial landscape, then this is when we've got the combination of the glacial features in an area. So great start. Well done, everyone. Over to Fiona now for the bubble quiz.
Lovely, thank you. So we are now on to the bubble quiz. So in this round, there can be 0 correct answers all the way through to 4 answers. So let's take a look at that first question then. So we have got, which of the following correctly refer to the geological epoch of the most recent ice age? So is it the Holocene, the Pliocene, the Anthropocene, or the Pleistocene? Or is it a combination of them? Let's have a look. We have got good. Spectral Eclipse, Ben, great. I think we've got the correct answer there. So let's just take a look at that. It is indeed the Pleistocene, and that ended around 11,700 years ago, which doesn't feel very recent. But remember, in here, we're thinking about that recent ice age, not just our most recent epoch. Okay, our next question then. So remember, bearing in mind we could have more than one correct answer. Which of the following are characteristics of the tundra biome? So very high net primary productivity, high biological biodiversity of flora and fauna, small, slow-growing flora, low insolation, no darkness in summer. So which of those do we think? We've got a few answers coming in. C and D. Let's take a look. Well done. Again, we've got those two answers on this one. So well done for those of you that gave this answer. So we've got small, slow-growing fauna. They don't want to lose all of their energy really quickly. And in the summertime, in the tundra, it is going to be bright and sunny. Not necessarily warm, obviously, because it's the tundra, but for 24 hours. And then in the wintertime, we're going to have the opposite, it being dark for 24 hours. Okay, the next one then. Which of the following are characteristics of the polar biome? So does it have frequent high pressure or anticyclones? Does it have high albedo due to reflectivity of ice and snow? Is it low insolation, so negligible daylight in the winter, and frequent low depressions, or frequent low pressure, depressions? So how many of those do we think might be correct for this ones? So those of you in the chat, so this glacial systems is an optional unit on the AQA specification. So it might be that you are doing coasts, it might be that you are doing deserts. So you'll do one of those options from there. So let's take a look. Yeah, so we've got A, B, and C for this one. So frequent high pressure. The weather doesn't change very often when you have high pressure. High albedo. So remember, ice and snow is very, very reflective. And then we've got that low insolation again, negligible daylight in the winter. So it might be that the sun doesn't rise for very long. Let's take a look at the next one then. So which of the following characteristics are typical of tundra soils? So are they blue-grey? So they're glade. Are the soil horizons unclear? Does it get waterlogged in summer? And does it have a thin, acidic, organic layer near the surface? So how many of those are true, or are none of them true? Let's see what we are saying. So we've got A and D. Do we have any other answers coming through? And I'm a bit of a soil geek. I love learning about all the different soils and the different biomes. Also, we've got C and D this time. Let's take a look and see what we've got. It is actually all four of them for this one. So remember, in the tundra, generally it is permafrost soil. However, when that does start to melt, as it is experienced in the summer, it may start to get waterlogged. Those soil horizons, they can sometimes be a little bit unclear. So yeah, we've got all of these four characteristics are going to be true of our tundra soil. Okay, have we got another one? I think this is the last one of the round. I'm thinking back to the question that Catherine asked before about kind of the landscapes and landforms. Which of the following are found in glaciated landscapes? So ribbon lakes, tarns, fjords, rias. How many of those are found in glaciated landscapes? Well, that is a good thing, Deeb, on there, because if we take a look at the answer, a ria is not a glaciated landform. A ria is basically a drowned river valley. So if we were looking at coastal landforms, that one would come up in there. So the other three, all three of those are found in glaciated landscapes. A ria is not. So that's probably why you don't know what one of those is. Okay, Catherine, back over to you.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so I like these ones because we get a nice pretty picture to look at. So we're going to see 6 questions, and as each question is answered, we're going to see a bit of the picture. And so we're not only trying to answer the questions, we're also trying to work out what the image we're seeing is. So let's see our first question. Right, okay, so at the start of a glacial advance, what name is given to the upland area where the ice budget is positive? So let's see what you can suggest, those of you that are joining in so brilliantly. And those of you that have not been joining in yet, go on, give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. What do you think this could be? Right, okay, brilliant. So thank you to Spectral and to Ben. Let's see if those are correct. Yeah, you're right. It's the accumulation zone. Yeah, and Deeb's in there as well. Fantastic stuff. Well done. So let's see what bit of a picture we get. So we're starting to get a little bit of a pretty picture under there. And our next question says, what name is given to the area of an alpine glacier with a negative glacial budget, usually during the summer months? So let's have a little think. What's this one going to be? Right, yeah, this is the other half of the equation, isn't it, from our previous question? So let's double check that we got those answers correct. Oh, brilliant. We got Felicity as well. Let's see if everyone's correct by saying area of ablation. Can you show us the answer, John?
Is that not the answer?
Oh, mine's not changed, but
Okay.
oh yeah, sorry, there it is. Yeah. Sorry, I was going mad. Zone of ablation, you're correct. Yeah, brilliant. I'm sorry, I was looking at the for the photo. There we go. Brilliant. So these guys really know their stuff. So, right, brilliant. When a glacial advance occurs in a river valley, the ends of the former interlocking spurs are removed by glacial erosion. What adjective is used for the spurs following glacial retreat? So yeah, just think, what do we call these spurs after they've had the ends eroded by the glaciers? What do you think? Yeah, brilliant. Oh, you're so fast. And we got Malu now as well. Fantastic. So is truncated the answer? Yes, it is. What is our next bit of our picture? So it wasn't just going to be sky. We've got another bit of land there as well. Fantastic. Okay, so what name is used to describe the rocks deposited by a glacier during a pause in glacial retreat? What do we think? We've got a nice range of people joining in now, which is so wonderful to see. Right, so let's see. So we've got a suggestion of erratics there. Do people agree with Ben, or do you think it might be something different? Have a little think. Right, let's see what the answer is. Right, so we're talking about recessional moraine there. So erratics are rocks that are deposited by a glacier. They're those, really huge rocks that you get dotted around once the glacier's retreated. But when we've got the glacier retreating there and it's dropping material as it recedes, we get that recessional moraine. So what's our next bit of the picture? Lovely, fantastic. So, right, next we have got what name is given to a small stream left behind in a glaciated valley after the glacier has melted away? What do we think? Oh, brilliant. Yeah, we got spectral eclipse coming in with some great ideas again. Let's see the answer. Right, fantastic. Yeah, and Deeb got that correct as well. Misfit River or Misfit Stream. So it's a misfit because it's just so much smaller than you'd expect for the size of the valley that it's in. Okay, so we're getting a lot of our picture revealed here, and what a beautiful picture that is. So we got one more question. What term is used to describe frost-shattered rocks that fall from high crags and collect on the lower valley sides and floor? What do we call those frost-shattered rocks? Right, so yeah, brilliant. Deep's in there thinking about the image, thinking about a misfit stream there in a U-shaped valley. Great stuff. Yeah, and what a beautiful valley it is. Yeah, and we've got there also a couple of suggestions of scree. So that is the correct answer. And is the picture a misfit stream in a U-shaped valley? Let's see the answer for the picture. Yeah, so we've got there the U-shaped valley. Yeah, brilliant. And that is actually taken in Snowdonia. What a beautiful picture that is. So any chance you get to go to these glaciated landscapes, it's always worth it because they are stunning. Thank you very much. Over again now to Fiona.
Okay, lovely. So we have now got the categorize round. So you're going to have 60 seconds to categorize those 8 statements into those 3 categories. So we've got continuous permafrost, discontinuous permafrost, and sporadic permafrost. So you can just write like C, D, S, and then the numbers that you think go with those into the chat. But you've only got 60 seconds, so be super duper quick. Let's start that timer. Here we are, 15 seconds down. You've had half of your timer. We've got some answers coming in. Thank you very much. Okay, 10 seconds remaining. And your time is up. That 60 seconds goes so quickly, doesn't it? Let's take a look at those correct answers. So our continuous permafrost then, this is when what's underlying that landscape, about 90 to 100% of it is that permafrost. Okay, so we've got here, it's the coldest permafrost areas. And that continuous kind of gives us a clue there. It is very deep as well, which also allows it to be continuous. And there's almost no melting at the surface. And that's because it is within those coldest permafrost areas. We then have discontinuous permafrost, which is around 50 to 90% of a landscape if it's discontinuous. It's found in slightly warmer permafrost areas. And as you can see with the depth there, it is far shallower than the continuous one. And there may be gaps under rivers, lakes, coastal areas. And then the final one, the sporadic permafrost, this is going to be an area which has less than 50% coverage of permafrost. And this is found in the least cold areas. So there, the mean temperature may be around 0 degrees. And it's only in very isolated areas. But underneath it, there is a significant active layer. So if you've got 4, 8, and 2 for continuous, great. Spectral, I can see you've got 2 and 8 there, fantastic. 3, 5, and 6 for discontinuous, and 1 and 7 for sporadic. That was a very speedy round. So let's take a look at our next round.
Brilliant. Now, I think these are such useful activities to do, chain of analysis, because it's really helping you to think about this idea of sequencing that's so important, particularly when we're looking at physical geography processes, thinking about what comes first and then next to next. So we're thinking here about periglacial landscapes. You can see there we've got a figure, periglacial landscape with pingos and polygon wedge ice in Canada. And we are now going to look at some sentences. And the idea is that you have to put these in order to make a chain of analysis. Now, I'm going to give you a clue that we're going to start with number 3. Okay, so start with number 3. And then can you have a go in the chat box at writing down what order do you think these will be? So just use the numbers, start with 3 and think, right, okay, so we've got 3 first, and then what comes next in the sequence? Sequencing's such an important thing when answering these questions. So have a little look, see what you can come up with. I think you're doing very well, those of you that are contributing today. I've got a feeling there's going to be some very good A-level marks from you guys. Right, okay, so Deeb's in with an answer. Who else can suggest a order for these? Right, looking good. Okay, let's see what the answer is that we've got on this PowerPoint. But sometimes, some of these you can have things slightly in different orders. But let's see what we've got here. So we've got, as I said, number 3, cracks in the soil, filling with ice, an active layer, and extend down to the permafrost. The appearance can be opaque or milky due to the air bubbles in the ice. And then we've got next. We've got in winter, active layer freezes due to extreme cold causing ground contraction. Deep, you put that the other way round. You put 5 next, but that's okay because 5 is saying in summer, the cracks are filling with the meltwater, which freezes and thaws repeatedly, growing larger in time. When frozen, they're known as ice veins. So it doesn't really matter which way around 4 and 5 are. And then we've got the ice veins developing into ice wedges, forming the polygons on the ground with low gradient. And then finally, we've got those ice wedge polygons creating patterned ground. And post-glaciation, the fine sediment may fill the gaps left as ice wedges melt, creating those ice wedge casts. And again, creating something really quite beautiful. So excellent stuff. Well done. And back to Fiona again.
Okay, so this time I get the pretty picture. So again, just the same as it was last time, we're going to have a question, an answer, and then there'll be a picture that comes up behind it, and let's see whether we can work out the picture before all 6 images have been taken off. Let's have a look at our first question. So what word are we describing here where we've got what is the collective term for landscape features created by glacial meltwater downstream of glacial or formerly glaciated areas? What could that be? And you were fabulous at this in the last round, so I'm hoping we get some equally amazing answers this time around. What do we think that feature may be? Fluvio-glacial, let's take a look. It is indeed fluvio-glacial landforms, so perfect. And I love that term as well, fluvio-glacial. Let's see what our next one is. Sorry, I do have a 2-year-old who wants to join in. What name is given to meltwater channels at the edge of a glacier alongside lateral moraines? So again, some great vocabulary in there. What do we think that might be? And we've got a tiny chunk of our image so far. It's not giving too much away. So what name is given to meltwater channels at the edge of a glacier? What do we think? Has anybody got a terminology piece for me for that one? If not, don't worry, because some of these terms are pretty tricky. Recessional. Let's take a look. So this time we're looking at marginal and submarginal meltwater channels. So they are the edge being the margin. So it's just giving us some slightly better vocabulary in there. Let's take a look at the picture. Is that giving anything away? I don't feel like it's given away too much so far. So what name is given to meltwater channels flowing inside a glacier in a tube surrounded by ice? So they're flowing inside a glacier. What could that be? And there's a great term that we're going to use for this answer. Let's see if anyone can get it. Oh, I think Deeb might have it there. So what is the name for it? Let's do a reveal. It is an englacial meltwater channel. So englacial is a bit like inglacial. So it's happening within that glacier. Let's take a look at the image. Oh, okay. So this image is starting to get slightly more interesting. Obviously, if you do want to make a guess as to what that image might be, then you are more than welcome. But let's take a look at our next one. What name is given to meltwater channels flowing on the surface on top of a glacier? Oh, and Deeb is saying, is the image a glacial snout? Oh, that sounds like a good guess what we shall see from the bottom part of the image as well. So if we have a meltwater channel that's on the surface, we talk about it being supraglacial. Okay, good, Deeb, you got it as well on there. Perfect. Let's see what the next bit is. Oh, okay, I can see maybe some water there. Okay, so our next one. What name is given to ephemeral lakes where meltwater accumulates on the downstream of glaciers or ice sheets held in by ice? So we've got these ephemeral lakes. I wonder what that might be. Does anybody have a piece of terminology for me from that one? Thinking about ephemeral. Let's take a look. What do we think the answer is? So we've got these proglacial lakes. So remember, when things are ephemeral, they are not lasting for a long time. They are very short term on there. I think this middle box may give us a very big clue to what this image is. Okay. Very interesting. Let's take a look at our last one then. What is the name, or sorry, what name is given to meltwater channels at the underneath of a glacier? Oh, subglacial. Let's take a look. It is indeed subglacial. So sub being a prefix for anything that we're talking about being under. So yeah, subglacial meltwater channels. Does anybody know what this image is? Let's take a look at the answers. So we've got, is it a glacial snout? And the answer is, we've got englacial and subglacial. Linear debris creates esker. So an esker is a long ridge of gravel deposited by meltwater. And we can see some meltwater just at the very bottom part of the image there. So well done on that one. I think, Catherine, it's over to you.
Lovely. Okay, so we're going to look at a connection wall now. So this connection wall is a wall of different characteristics, and what we need to figure out is what groups can we see there. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got A, B, C, D. So first of all, what I'd like you to do is have a little look, and can you tell me in the chats which ones of these do you think would relate to polar cold environments? So in the chat, good to see that we've got some different people here commenting. We've got Ewan, Claudia, Entity. So if we are looking for the bricks on the wall here that are related to polar cold environments, which ones could it be? Let's see your suggestions. So just think which number, which letter each time. Right. Okay. So thank you very much. Let's see some examples then of these features of polar cold environments. So locations such as the Arctic Ocean, they have extensive sea ice, also Antarctic continent, and extensive ice shelves and ice sheets as well, such as Antarctica and Greenland. Okay, so now let's see which ones we can find that relate to the alpine cold environment. So just like you did just now, have a little think, what is the letter, what is the number, and which ones, we got 4 again, which ones are relating to alpine cold environments. So let's see your suggestions. So have a little look and think which ones of those would be alpine. Right, thank you, Claudia. Yeah, that is a correct answer. Brilliant stuff. Right. Okay. Let's have a little look then at our alpine cold environments. So, yeah, Claudia was right. Up in those high mountains, these are landscapes created during ice age glacials and interglacials. They have large temperature fluctuations, cold winters and warm summers, and can occur at almost any latitude because this isn't about latitude, this is about altitude, this is about happening in the high mountains. So, our next one that we're thinking about is glacial cold environments. So, of the ones that are left, which ones would we associate with glacial cold environments? It's getting easier each time, this, because we're getting some ticked off the list. So, what do you think? Okay, thank you very much. Let's see what the answers are there. So, yeah, so glacial in cold environments, we've got the glaciers found at the edges of ice sheets, found in polar and alpine areas, and large amounts of ice remaining all year around. And that can include Greenland and can be partly outside of the Arctic. So that means if we click onto the next slide, it leaves the periglacial cold environments. So those include the tundra regions, usually in the high latitude areas with low precipitation. Permafrost is common, and there's a mobile active layer that we talked about earlier, which melts in the summer. And this includes locations such as North Alaska, North Canada, North Scandinavia, Svalbard, and Siberia. Thank you very much. Lots to think about there. So I think we're on to our last rounds now, and back to Fiona.
Thank you. So in this round, I'll be doing the first 5 and then Catherine will be doing the final 5. So let's start off with another beautiful glaciated landscape. And as you can see, there are some numbers on the landscape here. So I would like you to select the correct order of label numbers showing an arête, a corrie lake or a tarn, a corrie lip, a hanging valley, and a plucked back wall. So which of those sequences is the correct sequence for this image? And I think some people are already in there. Deep and Felicity, straight in there. Let's take a look at the answer. It is indeed B. So 5, we can see that arête just running in towards the landscape there. We have got the lake at the bottom there. We have got the corrie lip just outside of the lake. We have got the hanging valley right in the background there, and then that plucked back wall. Okay, perfect. Well done to those of you who got that answer correct. Let's take a look at the next one. So, in a cold environment, which process of weathering is likely to have caused this large boulder to break in two? Is it aeolian processes, chemical reactions, animal activity, or frost action, freeze, thaw? What do we think? Deep has gone straight in there with D. Let's take a look. Oh, and Claudia as well. It is indeed frost action. So when the water gets inside that crack, freezes, that's going to make that crack much, much larger. And we can see here, this is a very, very good example of that freeze thaw weathering in action. Well done. Okay, let's take a look at question 3. What can boulders, such as the Norber erratics in Yorkshire, tell us about glaciation? Is it evidence of the ice direction? Shelter for scientists? Is it evidence of the ice duration or evidence of climate change? What do we think for this one? And some of you may have been on a field trip to this location. What do we think? I think we can almost certainly get rid of one answer quite quickly. Oh, we've got a few different answers coming in. Let's just take a check on that answer. So this one is actually evidence of the ice direction. Okay. Claudia, yeah, it looks like it could be a shelter for scientists. If it was raining, I'd be a bit scared of them perhaps being dislodged or bits of them falling away on me. But no, this time it is evidence of ice direction. Okay, let's take a look at question number 4. What is the name of the depositional landscape characterised by drumlin swarms formed from a lodgement till? Is it an Easter eggs landscape, perfect for this time of year? A casket of eggs landscape? A basket of eggs landscape? Or a bucket of eggs landscape? Well, thank you, Malu and Claudia, straight in there. Let's take a check. It is a basket of eggs landscape, a perfect glaciated landscape for this time of year. And we've got a very good example there from Ireland. Okay, question number 5. What name is given to the moraine at a glacier snout, where 2 glaciers have merged their lateral moraines to become medial moraine? So we've got numbers 1 and 2 on there just to show you where those are. What do we call it where they have merged? Is it fixed, end, nose, or terminal? What do we think for this one? Okay, we've got some good answers coming in. Let's just check. It is actually the terminal moraine here because we're thinking about where they have merged. We're thinking about the end of that section. So we're thinking about the terminal moraine in there. Okay, Catherine, over to you for the final 5.
Wonderful. Okay, so we've got yet another beautiful photograph here on the screen, looking at a glaciated valley in Cumbria. And we have got a distinctive landform here. But is it a roche cheminée, a roche dragée, a roche moutonné, or a roche purée? What do you think? Let's see your answers. All right, thank you. So let's have the reveal then. What is it? Yeah, it's a roche moutonné or a sheep rock. Looks a little bit like a sheep lying down there. So yeah, we've got a roche moutonné there as one of our landforms. Let's look at our next question. So another stunning picture. And what is the ridge of linear debris deposited by end-glacial and subglacial meltwater streams as a glacier retreats? So are we looking there at terracettes, pingus, eskers, or braided channels? Right, okay, so we've got some thinking there. Let's see what the answer is. Right, yep, you were correct. Yeah, we've got eskers and beaded eskers there. Fantastic. Okay, on to question 8. What are expansive areas of sorted and layered debris deposited by meltwater in front of a glacier? So we've got there a fluvoglacial landscape in Iceland. So are we looking at outwash plains, block fields, patterned ground, or pingos? Deeb, that was very quick. Is Deeb right? Let's see. Yes, A. We've got the outwash plain there. Fantastic. And Claudia also saying the same thing. And on to question 9. What is a depression in an outwash plain filled with meltwater, probably created by large, slow melting remnants of glacier ice? So is that a ribbon lake, a kettle hole, a tarn, or a braided channel? Got a few different answers this time, so let's see what the correct one is. Yeah, well done. So that is a kettle hole. And then I think that's our last question, is number 10. So approximately how long ago was the last glacial maximum when global sea level was over 120 meters lower than it is now? So was that 20,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, 2 million years ago, or 2 billion years ago? Oh, we got some answers going straight in there. Let's see if they're right. Yeah, 20,000 years ago. Fantastic. I have to say that you have been absolutely brilliant today joining in. Brilliant stuff.
Quite correct, Catherine. Yeah, brilliant answers from lots and lots of people. So many thanks to everybody who has taken part, and of course a massive thank you to both Catherine and to Fiona, and Fiona's little friend who was giving us one or two little tips about some of the answers as well, which I thought was really useful. Brilliant stuff. I believe we're back again next Wednesday evening, unless somebody's going to no.
Oh,
It looks
it's
like
on Monday now.
Sorry, okay, it's Monday. Thank you for that, Fiona. So we've got another one on Monday evening when I believe Vicky is back. Again, thank you to everybody who's been involved. And a quick reminder that the PowerPoint that we've been using tonight will be available about 5 minutes after we finish this live stream. Wonderful stuff. Thank you again. Look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.